when they came to you with Paddy said he knew this fight was happening back in December, and it maybe was on you. Maybe you didn't want to get back in right away. So I guess what went through your mind when they gave you Paddy, and then I guess how long quickly did it take you to sign that contract?
I'm a guy who is not afraid to take risks and brave the unknown and do ill-advised things to the masses at times, but I also am a man of my word. So when the UFC approached me about it, the answer was yes. I just don't know timeline-wise. I had some injuries I needed to take care of, clean up after the Charles fight. That was a tough battle for a couple months, but I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to make the timeline for the UFC. We talked about June, we talked about April, and then ultimately, it came down to, hey, I'm ready to just jump back in there. I'm healthy, I'm ready, and I had a bad taste in my mouth from that last fight with Charles. I felt like I was about to have the best performance of my life, and had a little thing happen to me inside the octagon, which changed the entire thing. So now we're back, we're ready. We've had a phenomenal training camp, and it was ready to roll. And I'm glad I made that decision. I just had a daughter born a couple days ago, so I got some extra motivation. Got to go out there, get my hand raised, finish Paddy Pimblett in spectacular fashion, and go home and be the dad to 3 children.
I think obviously you've had a lot of attention on you since you come to the UFC, but this one feels like the biggest one, right? So far in your career, do you feel like this is the biggest fight you've had to take a part of?
Yeah, definitely. Every fight that I have now is going to be the biggest fight in my career. Obviously, everything's a must-win, and co-main event slot on the best pay-per-view of the year, best fight card of the year. It's where I need to shine.
Every fighter in their career has that one fight that sort of, in the eyes of the audience, proves them to be like a legit fighter, right? I think back to when Conor first fought Dustin. As he was coming through the ranks, suddenly everyone realised, like, oh, this guy is really good. Do you see this fight with Chandler as the one that, for you, shows the world, like, I'm not just a fun fighter, I'm a legit elite fighter?
I hope so. But the goalposts always get moved with me, lad. Like, everyone's saying now before the fight, oh, Chandler's going to knock him out, Paddy's not good. And then once I beat him, it'll be, oh, he's 2-4 in the UFC, he's 38, he's washed. Know what I mean? That's just, I'm used to it. I get on with it now. I just go out there and prove how good I am by winning.
It's been a while since we've seen you, fighting down in the rankings, and I know you want to fight up, but do you kind of view Paddy as maybe the biggest name in terms of attention it will bring outside of Conor and obviously fighting Islam for the belt? It seems like Paddy's the one everyone talks about in the division.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a sport. It's the X's and the O's. It's about wins and losses. It's about rankings, but it's also about being in fights that people care about. This is a fight that people care about. Anytime I step inside the octagon, anytime Paddy steps inside the octagon, people care. People are going to watch to hopefully watch us lose or hopefully watch us win if they're a fan of us, right? So we both got that, and this fight has all the makings of the people's main event. And I've only had my back up against the wall twice in the UFC thus far. Obviously, the first time was the coming into the UFC debut. I had everything to gain, but I had a lot to lose. And obviously, we saw how I finished Dan Hooker in 2.5 minutes. And then a couple fights later, back up against the wall against Tony Ferguson, who was ranked number 7 or number 8, and I was number 5. And it was a kind of a risky situation. And then we all saw the KO of the year, SportsCenter #1, top 10. So I thrive in these moments, and I believe Saturday night will be very similar to the last 2.
I saw on your YouTube channel, which is a great channel, people should check it out, that you've started really like dialing in and taking your career seriously more than you ever have before. Do you feel the effects of that in the gym and when you train?
Yeah, feel it when I spar, feel it when I train. Even like doing me fight run-throughs the last couple of days when we've been training. I've never had this much energy fight week. I've never been able to smash pads for rounds and rounds and then do a fight sim after it. And everything's just coming together. Everyone always says it, it's very cliche, but I am in the shape of my life. I've never felt this good, and it'll show on the weekend.
Paddy's also used the phrase, like, in his mind when he's preparing, he's like, oh, Mike's the guy that's trying to take food out of my kids' mouths. Like, because he just had twins, too. So do you get that mindset? Like, maybe he has to build you up as this guy that's the bad guy, but he might not actually hate you outside of the octagon.
No, he don't hate me. And that's what's beautiful about this sport, man. I got a ton of respect for Paddy. I hope I separate him from consciousness without too much bodily harm and lasting impressions. But with that being said, I hope he gets up and we hug it out, and he goes back to his family. Like that's what we do, and he wants the same exact thing for me. We all have a ton of respect for each other because we know the sacrifices that we have to make, and some of us make more than others, and some of us, are a little bit lukewarm, and some of us are all in. I believe I'm all in, so I believe I deserve to win. But yeah, I am, trying to take the food off of his table, and he's trying to take the food off of mine. So we're just going to go out there and we're going to compete. And luckily, we get to do it under the brightest lights and the biggest stage in the world, which is the Ultimate Fighting Championships.
Did we establish who has the bigger, most messed up hand, you or Michael?
Yeah, everyone started saying I've got a moose knuckle, which was quite funny. But yeah, I think I've got bigger hands than him, lad. He's only little, isn't he?
Paddy, right. You've used that phrase, people are always moving the goalposts for you. And I remember you were saying something similar when you fought Tony and something similar when you fought Bobby Green or King Green. And then you said you kind of get on with it now. Did that ever bother you at all? And was there a moment when you were just like, all right, no, I got to move on from this?
Nah, it's been happening since I was an amateur, since I was 16. People saying, oh, he'd beat you. And then when I beat them, it's like, oh, he's not even that good. Like, I'm used to it. It's been happening for years and years. It's something that's what's not new to me.
And then just last one for me. I think it was either you or your coach used the phrase, Charles showed the formula against Michael Chandler. So I guess what in that fight, without giving away your game plan, obviously, did you see from Charles and you're like, all right, this is the path to victory?
A lot of stuff, know what I mean? I couldn't even name one. We kept him on the end of his shots. He showed how easy Michael Chandler is to take down. A lot of people thought Chandler was a high-level wrestler, but he might be a high-level, like, Division 1 wrestler where it's just straight wrestling, but MMA wrestling, I'm better at it. I'm a better grappler, I'm a better striker. He's just probably got more power in his hands, but we'll prove that on Saturday night, won't we? We'll see who's got more power, because I think there's more chance of me knocking him out than him knocking me out.
What do you make of Paddy during this fight week? He's a guy who sometimes has beefed with opponents, sometimes beefed with fighters that he's not fighting, but you guys have been very, very cordial. Is this what you expected?
Not necessarily. I didn't quite know. Thank you. Sorry, it's measured out perfectly. Can't drink this one. I wasn't sure, honestly, what to expect, to be honest with you. I know he's got some funny trash talk. He likes to get in the mix. He's not afraid. He's got that Scouser accent. But ultimately, Paddy and I have crossed paths many times. After I was at his fight against Ferguson, I came up to him, congratulated him, because why not? Even if he's in my weight class, even if I knew he was a young, hungry star on the rise, could be coming to be sitting right here someday to fight me, the sport's about respect, and I respect the heck out of him. And, he was like, I wasn't able to do what you did to him, but I got the win. And I was like, hey, man, you did great. We're very cordial. We don't need to hate each other to go out there and try to steal the show. Chandler versus Pimblett is the people's main event, and we will steal the show on Saturday night. And we'll shake hands and maybe share a pint after.
Paddy, real quick. Some people have accused Michael Chandler, fans and past opponents, of maybe being a dirty fighter, of cheating, fish hooking, shots to the back of the head. Wondering, do you agree with that? Do you see him as a dirty fighter? And if so, I guess, how do you prepare for that? And do you have to have a conversation with the referee in the back to be like, hey, just be extra careful?
Yeah, he's the nicest man in the world outside the cage. And when he gets in it, he's a dirty bastard, isn't he? You know what I mean? But I always say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I understand what he's trying to do. He wants to win, and that's the main thing when it comes to this game. But yeah, I probably will mention to the ref in the back, like, if he's going to grab me gloves, I'm going to say if he tries to poke me in the eye and stuff like that. Because that one against Charles, lad, when he punched him in the back of the head about 9 times or something, and the ref, I hope that's not my referee, put it that way. I hope I've got a good ref, like Goddard or Herzog. I don't want to have a ref that's just going to let me get rabbit punched in the back of the head consistently. The one what he done to Gage, he was bad as well when he poked him in the eye, and then the ref went to stop it and he just punched him in the face as hard as he could. As I say, Chandler's a real nice fella outside the octagon. I've bumped into him yesterday and had a chat with him, but in there he's a very, very dirty man.
And just last one for me. You said you had a book coming out, correct? And
Yeah, we're not sure when it comes out, but we just finished the first final manuscript, so we're excited.
And you just had a song that's coming out too?
Yeah, well, actually, I have a song coming out Thursday at midnight with Akira the Don as well, and then I wrote a song with Red Farron, and Yeah, a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah,
So
do
we
you-
got some good stuff.
Do you ever feel burnout at all? Because like juggling all that with getting in fist fights probably seems like a lot.
No, not really. I think I do, and I don't know if this is right. I got to really unpack it if I'm going to speak to young MMA fighters, but I do a really good job of compartmentalizing and decompressing. I do not live in the mixed martial arts gym. I believe if I lived in the mixed martial arts gym, my career would have ended a couple years ago because it's just too much toll on your body. So when I am outside of training camps, I'm doing a lot of strength and conditioning. I'm keeping my cardio up. I'm supplementing perfectly nonstop, and I'm eating what I should be eating to just look like a professional athlete, so I can prolong my career. And taking little side projects. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm an investor. So I'm just doing all kinds of other things that make me feel alive and trying to serve as many people as I possibly can. And mixed martial arts, fighting in the UFC is just my shiny object that gets people to look my direction.
And then this year, dating from the January pay-per-view even through your fight, we're seeing a lot of these young lightweight prospects, you know, like Rufi, Ignacio, Bohamondes, like Tom Nolan and everyone. And they've all said the same thing, like the top 10, 15 of lightweight are probably closer to retirement than their primes outside of Arman. And a few of them have said, like, well, Paddy's kind of leading this charge of young lightweights coming up the division. Do you feel that? And do you kind of look like they might not be ranked, but do you see these guys as like, I'll probably have to fight this guy in like 3-4 years, maybe for a title?
Yeah, you never know. I've said the same myself. The old guard's changing. The old guard's going to fall out, or they're either all going to retire or they're going to end up on a trajectory like Tony Ferguson, because they're all getting on. Like, I think most of the top 10 is over 38. Well, 35, sorry. Like Benil, Moicano, Chandler, Poirier, Gagey, Charles. I don't know how old Gamrot is. I think Dan Uchud might be over 35 as well now. So the top 10 at lightweight in the next 3 years is going to be completely different, apart from me and Arman.
And then the other name that you're constantly, kind of linked to is obviously Conor. Just a quick one on that. What do you think of his presidential bid for Ireland?
I think you should vote. I think you should vote for Conor McGregor for president of Ireland if you're a resident of Ireland. No, I mean, I don't know. You don't know what's up with, what Conor's thinking. He's got, you talk about me, burnout and busy and whatnot. I mean, that guy's got his hands in 1,000 different things, for better or worse. So I think, we'll see what happens. It could just be a political stunt. Could just be for attention. Not a bad move if it is, and we'll see.
I'm from Brazil, and I was talking to Patricio Pitbull a couple of days ago, and he told me like you messaged him and he gave you some advice on Chandler without saying what it was. Is that something you plan on using on a fight?
Yeah, definitely. I messaged them when we was at the press conference a couple of weeks ago. I was going to try and get some training in with him, to be honest, because he's a little bit of a similar style to Chandler. You know what I mean? Short, stocky, throws big shots. And I could have played Yair for him. You know what I mean? I'm taller, rangy, throw a lot of kicks. But we just didn't find the time to get in with each other and do it. But at the media day, the press conference, we were in the back and we was talking to him and his coach and his brother, and he gave me a little few pointers, showed me a little few things. I think we might have a little bit of it on video. So after the fight, if that comes off, Pitbull will be getting a big shout out, and we'll share the video of what he was showing me.